Ashna, would you be able to put the link on LinkedIn? Hello, Vikram sir.
It's already there.
Oh, it's already there on LinkedIn? No, I'm talking about the YouTube link.
Got it. I don't have it, but let me see.
No, it's here. Copy the streaming link. Ani has a clip. Hello, Chandra sir. Sir, you're on mute.
Yeah, hello, good morning to everybody.
Good morning, sir. We'll take another 2 minutes to start the session.
Okay.
You can also share the live YouTube link meanwhile to your network.
Okay.
That is there on the chat. Again, we'll share it.
Yeah, okay.
I'll share it again for your benefit.
No, the share screen is there. No, I have to go there and just share, right?
Yeah, I just shared it on the chat as well.
Yeah.
You can also share in your network on your LinkedIn.
Oh, no, now no time. Let's leave it.
No, whoever wants to join. Anyway, we'll wait for another 1 or 2 minutes for people more to join. Yeah. And we should be able to start then. Yes, we will start. Chandra, sir, you're there?
Yeah.
Would be nice if you are also on the video. We're not able to see you.
Yeah.
Hello all, welcome to the SusTalk 26 today. This is actually the first SusTalk of the year 2022, and we have one of the most passionate person I have ever met. His name is Chandrasekharan Jayaraman, and he is a water entrepreneur, and for me, he's one of my favorite water entrepreneur. And he actually has more than 32 years experience in the industry. He has emerged as a topper in plastics technology from CIPET and has profound knowledge in design, prototyping, and manufacturing of various products in metal, plastics, and other diverse materials. After a stint of almost 2 decades in plastic industry, designing, consulting firm, and online manufacturing firm, he went on to be the national consultant for Unido. And today, I mean, of course, today he's the founder of Watson Enviro Technologies. He has been helping rural people in the bottom of the pyramid, actually get access to clean water through his nanotechnology based water purifier. I'll not take much of his time. I want him to speak about his work. Sir, over to you. Request you to give a presentation, or you can talk for next 20 minutes, and then we'll have a quick. I'll have few questions to you, and then we'll open up the floor to the audience.
Yeah.
Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Ganesh Shankar. It has been a privilege. Since the involvement of Mafia, I become, I think, 30 years younger. So I had to start from the beginning, probably. And I am also learning a lot from all the other cohorts in the Mafia group and the lead and things like that. So making my exit journey, and now that makes me also think the responsibility has become more. To understand the more and more complexity which is coming out into the industry, and to water warriors like you and me. So now it has become more of a responsibility than a challenge. So with much ado, I am just sharing my screen. There's anything which you all know, you can just pardon me that maybe you can like skipping your class, you can skip the class. But if something is new, maybe you can take a leaf from that and see in which domain you can contribute and make sure that the planet is more greener. Yeah.
So we're still not able to see your screen.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just starting. It just started.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So this is my company. Watson was coined basically keeping water and sanitation. I should say this two eye of the common man for health and benefits. So I named it Watson because I felt it in the villages where I went. These two are really missing. So a decade ago, I happened to. I am a heritage enthusiast. I run an NGO as well in the name of Reach Foundation, where we restore old dilapidated temples. So by going out almost some 2 to 3,000 villages in a span of 2 years, like it is almost like whole week or maybe like wandering monk, going to places to just photo document these dilapidated structures so that we can reveal the history and the heritage value of our country and give the data back to the government, and maybe tomorrow some good Samaritan will come and restore those temples. I set on a mission of just photo documenting it with my other friends who are interested parallelly. But that took me to a different world altogether. So wherever I went, I was not allowed to stay back in the village more than a day. The simple reason being they also didn't have drinking water themselves, or maybe the water they drank were not really potable, or it was having some foul smell or something. There were diarrheal death and stuff like that. As well as had I stayed back, the next day I would have to carry a pitcher and go to the nearby water body to defecate myself. So these two things really hit me hard, and I thought if science is not the fulcrum to uplift the life of a common man or a layman who doesn't know science, what is the point of we claiming that we know science and we are engineers and whatnot? So this really made me think deep, and I just threw my job. I was working in some MNC as a global sourcing manager. It's a very good job, and with all my manufacturing experience, I thought I could just come into some product, but the tagline was already created by me. So I already decided what were all the anomalies in the water space, in the drinking water space. Electricity was a big bane in the villages. So I decided we should make a filter without electricity and without much of membranes or AMC and all those stuff, because we know prevalently the RO membrane and machines, what are there, they'll have a small sticker saying that if you remove the sticker, your warranty and guarantee is done. So only by threat perception people sell. We wanted to reverse the whole thing. We give the water purifiers by do-it-yourself model, easy to assemble, and it should last long to give value for money. And that's why I started Watson. And you can see the happy faces here in the villages, the remote village in tribal area where they conducted like a mela. Everybody came from group photograph along with the water filter. So they were making it very happy occasion because throughout their lives, 3 or 4 generations together, this is in the Andhra border where they have not ever seen water in transparent color. They always seen water in murky red color, and they were feeling that water, this is what water is all about. And a lot of diarrheal death was happening. There was one good Samaritan there, Dr. Kapil Sharma, who had been putting up a clinic there, and he started a clinic for those people. And when the first few filters went out, then it became a rage. Then everybody started, including the local, the commissioner of the tribal welfare, He came and he purchased 200 from his own quota. No government tenders, nothing. Slowly it became, now we have covered almost 1,000 households. Another 3,000 households are there. This is just a tip of the iceberg. I'm just saying what Watson could do by reaching out to the unreached. See, I'm talking about the Goliath. Why do I name it Goliath and David? Because, as you know, Goliath is too big and people were not sure that David can kill such a big giant. In short, because the time is short, I'm not going to dwell too much on the numbers and things like that. But I want to give you some enlightenment on what are all the things which are really the Goliaths which are sucking more water. And in Sanskrit, they say Stula Rupa and Shushma Rupa. Stula Rupa is one is visible, and these are all really gobbling enough water, and we have to see how we can reduce the water consumption of these things. So if you see the main cash crop like wheat, corn, rice, cotton and sugarcane, governments are pumping enough incentives for the farmers. They are allowing them to more grow, and these are all giving more money to the farmers. Thinking on the other side, it almost used almost 88 gallons, 100 gallons of water for doing sugarcane, and in rice actually, what like Indonesia and other places, the rice bowl which are big in the world, they have been able to do it in 1/8 of the water consumption what a conventional rice bowl in Punjab, Haryana and Tamil Nadu they do. So we just gulp too much of water, and Israel has come out with the water equation, which we say how much water is going in, that much water should be preserved. So they have very strictly monitored this parameter, and they have now become the water warriors where there is no water. But in India, unfortunately, there is enough water, but we don't realize that water is going to deplete very quickly. If you see the traditional crops like millets, jowar and other things, what are all our traditional crops for ages together? We can take from Sangam Mage or from Mohando or Harapan side. It consumed less water, and the Indian agriculture had technologies and native seeds which had less water consumption. But unfortunately, what is happening today, the world's fastest rate of groundwater decline is happening in India. In fact, when I went to Alang recently, we are the shipbreaking activities happening in and around that village. Just for a square meter of 5 to 6 kilometers, around 6,500 deep bore well has been happening. And these are all almost 300 feet, 400 feet, somewhere 700 feet, something like that. And there is no surprise that the minerals which are inside and all the salts which are heavy salts will come out. And no wonder the TDS has gone up to 2,000, 3,000, something like that. Then the next biggest villain is the textile and garment industry. If you look into the parameter, just to create one single pair of jeans, it requires almost 2,866 gallons of water. And the blue Nile, I call it, if you go to Jaipur and other places, you can see the water totally blue color. And these are all very heavy chemicals, and very few companies have come out with using indigo and other natural dyes. But the longevity or the reception of converting from this chemical dye to organic dye is very less. Very few people are trying, and very few textile industry companies are cautious about this. Another big danger in this industry is these people use many different type of chemicals like azo dyes and sulfates and other things. I don't want to dwell much into the chemistry part, but when they mix it together, it becomes a colossal chemical complex which they just dump into the STP. And then the government has spent crores and crores of money on the STP. Imagine if you have some food like separately sambar, rice, and curry and all those stuff. You want to give it to a poor man the food as it is. He would happily have it because it is separately there, and you can enjoy each taste differently. And you can, if you don't want something, you can throw it away. Imagine the same thing doesn't happen in chemical industry. All those independent chemicals are put together in one STP and just driven away from the factory in the name of pollution control. What happens? So a lot of energy is wasted, a lot of machines, mechanical machines are there, oxygenators, pumps, motors, and then you go for the press plates, which are used by PP. Then they flocculate all the chemical and press it in a plate. Then those plates are becoming landfill. This is the biggest colossal waste. Whatever technology is so far prevalent in the country, it has not been implemented in the right spirit. All the pollution control boards are totally corrupted. And Tirupur is the nearest village here in Tamil Nadu, which is the largest colonist Manchester of India. And unfortunately, out of the 65,000 units there, almost 99.99% units are defaulting the system by showing the pollution control board says put a camera where the water is getting cleaned and the transparent water falls down. But what these people do, they put the camera in the place where the transparent water is coming out from some other tap. And the sewage water is just from their backyard, they just illicitly throw it away into the Noyal River. And Noyal River has created larger problems when it reaches down to the main river source and joins with the sea. The whole region, covering some 4 or 5 districts, have become highly toxic, and cattle and other breed, agriculture, everything is suffering. So this is another thing. And the sad part is the biggest country. If you see this map here, the countries which are giving the G20 countries, which talk about a green environment and clean solution, all those stuff, they are already spilling out more of BOD emissions in the water industry in textile. And there are alternatives like using air dyeing and oxygen dyeing, which can really cut down the water consumption very less, the greenhouse gas emission very less, energy very less. But who are the takers? Very few people are there. Then comes meat production. People love to eat meat and stuff like that. Fortunately, if you are a vegetarian, fine. But the industry where mutton, beef, and other things are cut are very, very, very high. And that constitutes almost 29% of the water footprint in the total agriculture production. Because indirectly in the agriculture, whatever fodder and other things, the pasiparpu, that particular called agar-agar, the one particular alpha grain, which is called pasiparpu in Tamil here, that is a huge problem in Israel and other countries where they have grown in acres together, which almost consumes 70% of the water resource of their countries. It became a big problem because fodder manufacturing for cattle became a big problem that created a lot of water stress. And now they have cut it down to some other, and again they are asking that export from other countries like developing countries like India and other things, where the fodder is grown and given away to the beef or the cow and sheep over there. But that is also good, like cleaning, washing, again putting into preservatives and stuff like that. That's also indirectly constituting a lot of water stress. Then the beverage industry. This is another big area, like starting from the beverages, what you know, the soda, your Pepsi and Coca-Cola, to your coffee and other things. Really, it takes almost 180 to 380 to 28 gallons to produce just 2 liters of soda, 20 liters of water to gallons of water to make a pint of beer, nearly 37 gallons of water to produce the ingredients, make a single cup of coffee. We just see the coffee in before us, the physical part, but which goes on the cleaning, making, frying and drying and all those things, and also on the growth side. Coffee trees suck a lot of water, and all these things are finally coming down to the water stress. And there are some technologies which are also there trying to recycle the water as shown in this map by Frost and Sullivan. There are certain treatments, but again, these are not profound and these are not conducted by the big industries over there. Automotive manufacturing. This is another big killer. We don't know. We just buy a car and say I am a green person. I'm an environmental conscious person by just converting into electric car, CNG or something like that. But even to make those bodies and other things, and the test, that water immersion test and the paint, painting, that coating, the rinsing, hosing, cooling, air conditioning, the host of things, really gulp almost 39,000 of gallons of water to produce one single vehicle, including the tire. So this is another area where we need to see technology. Why I'm not mentioning about the David's here is, I'm just giving a tip of the iceberg. I'm telling you what are all the areas where new innovators and new scientists can think about and see if they have good connects with those particular industries. They can start giving less water stress solutions to these industries. Then I will talk about the Shushma Rupas. I said these are all physically available, but these are all relevant and known in the industry. Where there are some Shushma Rupa, means these are all in thin air. It doesn't come out in a physical form, but these are all big devils. The RO plant, I vehemently oppose this particular idea of this RO plant, which is called reverse osmosis. I call rogue in Hindi and English as well. Why? Because just see the map. 1960s and 70s, when this technology developed, emerged, there were only operational desalination plants were less than 2000. Today, just it jumped up almost 1000x, literally going up and up and up and everywhere, invariably without testing what water they are going to run through the RO plant. They just put it everywhere and anywhere. This has other big problems, because it takes, like say, there are big projects for seawater conversion into fresh water. What happens? This to make 1 gallon of fresh water, you have to suck 2 gallons of seawater, and the chaff or the brine or the salt residue is again dumped back into the sea. So what happens? The oxygen levels plummet totally. The TDS of that particular residue dumped area in the sea goes high and high and high, and as high as 30,000 TDS and something like that. Totally, there is no flora or fauna growing in and around that area. Everything becomes dead. So if you imagine in next 1 decade, what is going to happen is that these areas where this seawater conversion to drinking water is going to become a big menace, and the PSAs, the chemicals which are being drawn out from that particular process, and the membranes, the RO membrane are going to become a huge landfill problem. We don't know what to do with that. These are all very complex membranes with the salts embedded into that. Separation is going to be a problem, high energy sucking issues, and I should say this RO should be indefinitely stopped. In India, I'll give you the statistics. Almost 83% of the Indian population don't have access to drinking water, and hardly 7% of the Indian water space, the drinking water or the available source of water for potability, is only 7% is having salinity as an issue, where the TDS goes beyond 2000. And the Supreme Court has vehemently come down very strongly, banning all these RO fellows, implementing plants everywhere, but nobody cares. Big companies, because Hindustan Lever and other big companies are there. I don't want to name any more companies, but they are continuously using actresses and sportsperson to continuously bombard advertisements one after the other onto the televisions and creating a brainwave that these are the best water filters, which is already banned by the Supreme Court. Look into this particular thing. Just cleaning the vessels and other thing using toxic chemical soaps and whatnot has gone into very high dangerous levels. This is a notice from Guardian saying that the PFAs which are there in a clothing where we run the washing machines any number of times. There was a great article from Indian Express about the editor has written that don't wash, just put it in sunlight. Your cloth will do away with the smell in the cloth or anything. If there is no real dirt or anything, segregate, because you go to office, sit in a AC, go back by car, go to your room. You don't need to wash those cloth daily. She says even 5-6 days you can just put it in sunlight, again reuse the cloth, nothing will happen. But we are not understanding. Again, washing vessels. You give to your karmachari or ayah, she'll be very happy. Just putting in that sink one full tank of water, she will fill fully water. And the tap also will be kept open and she will keep on rinsing the vessel. But all the chemicals which are again going through the gutters are seeping now in the chemicals and all those filling all the landfills. Finally, these are giving horrendous diseases like thyroid disease, cancers, possibly learning delays in children. Because we don't know what is coming through our sump. Because if the sump is not built properly, it doesn't have proper wall, cemented wall and stuff like that, the seepage can happen from any part, anywhere. And there is no limit set for the PFAS in drinking water, and suggests, in fact, voluntary caps for few chemicals, because certain chemicals, as he said, like 2,300 communities in 49 states have been literally washed up by these type of toxic chemicals. And you see this Belandur Lake, which is a very famous thing. I think most of you are from Bangalore. Every government promises we will give you some clean lake, but where is it happening? Some industry is really dumping the chemical into the stream, and nobody is plugging the rod in the very beginning and fining that company heavily, or even closing down that industries chemically. We are not even understanding that this is going to create a bigger problem, because the residual chemicals left in the river and lake is going to kill somebody elsewhere. And for a simple example, I'll tell you, you are just hitting your toilets with HCl, or even you want to have some more better cleaning, you think sulfuric acid. These are all just put with some soaps and scents and like things like that. And maybe Akshay Kumar and other big people, Rickett and Coleman, will advertise it in a big way. Somebody will go inside the house, storm into the house without asking that woman, and go directly to the toilet and hit it with this cleaner and say your toilet is clean. It is not, because Dr. Shankar must be hearing here, and there are some experts, Dr. Ganesh and other people. It is a fact that the bacteria inside the toilet and inside the sewage system and inside the soak pits and leach pits are in trillions and trillions. These are all the natural anaerobic bacteria who eat away the fecal material completely, digest into combustible material and green material, and just leave it away. Carbon dioxide, water will get dissolved. Other residues which are left will be high enriched material which can be used as a manure, natural manure without going for pesticide. But what happens? We just hit it, the shit will remain shit, the urine will remain urine with again high ammonia content and other thing, it will just go into the drain. That will again go to the biggest STP. When you fly down to any city, you can see large STPs with a big blade and other thing are being trying to clean this STP and other shit. Nothing is going to happen. Just an eyewash, because the complexity of more and more complexes coming, more and more flats coming, more and more people just dumping it, hitting it with acid is not going to solve the problem. Because these ceramic bodies are supposed to have high surface, you can just scrub it with your nylon brush with just water. It's going to take care of that cleaning issue. And you can use vinegar or neem oil or something so that the material will not kill the bacteria instantly. Gallnut, soap nut, there are so many things for even washing your body. I don't use soap for almost past 20-25 years. I don't remember. Since I got deep into this understanding of being a chemistry guy, I don't use soap at all. My body doesn't sweat. The sweat pores are not closed. And you don't need to use any cream or anything further or some powder to masquerade that smell or anything, because your body don't smell, because your sweat pores are always open. Just use fresh water to take bath and come out. That's it. Another big sinner we can say here is this pharma industry. You go to Ankleshwar, Bharuch and Hyderabad and other places, this very clearly says all these countries where high pharmaceutical residues are detected in surface water, groundwater and tap water. Big countries where this Roche and other companies who are running big pharma plants in Canada and US are the big killers. And you see, no single technique has been found to remove all the relevant pollutants from wastewater. That is what they say. That's why I was jocularly saying in the last Mafia, in the marathon TEDx talk we had, I said, what error? What is the error in water? That was my topic. I was quoting, since are not washed in Ganges, but in all water bodies which are in and around this pharma company, like rosin, anasin, erythromycin, everything are washed in all these places. And if you go to JD Metla or Ankleshwar or Bharuch, the water which comes into your tap or this Har Ghar Jal, that project, you open the tap, still your water smells foully because it is having enough pharmaceutical residues. Then again, leather industry is another big polluter, the chromium pollution from the tanneries. Again, the big so-called countries which yell from top of the roof, like Central America and South America, they are the ones who are really killing too many things. And you see, India is concentrated too much of tanneries. And the Ganges, Brahmaputra belt and down here in Pala river areas, in Arakonam and other states, these are really polluting a lot. And now there are some biological solutions. There are some inoculum, some bacterial culture which allows to eat away all the leather materials, the chromium and other things which are coming that. And that is one research which the CLRI is trying to do. But the ideas are not profound, are not going to masses. Then we use a lot of chemicals in other industries as well. You go to cement industry, steel, power, paper, everywhere. We are just dumping a lot of chemicals for the cleaning process and other things. A lot of nitrogen and phosphorus slowly coming out into the eutrophication process, which enriches the surface of the nutrients. And the trophic status of lakes is associated with the nutrients and growth of organic matters in the lake. So while these type of the residues are blooming, the algae, the green algae and the red algae and other thing, and the cleaning that algae is now becoming a huge mundane problem for various countries. Lot of researchers, and finally it was found only by biological culture. Again, not using another chemical to kill a chemical, but by biological cultures, lot of inoculums have been developed for killing away and cutting down the heavy nitrogen and phosphorus in the water and killing away these weeds. There that the oxygen can be more in the water, and this is another area where a lot of scope is there. And we do another big sin by allowing many of our taps leak in small levels. Now, many societies have put it as a mandatory thing to put a small aerator in every tap, where a simple tap, just opening it by 1 minute, throws out 15 liters of water. The same tap, 1 or 2 seconds, throws 15 liters of water. Just put a aerator, it will come down to drastically to 1 or 2 liters of water. So this needs to be really checked out. And again, the sinners are these the big developed countries who talk about green energy and water stress and stuff like that. So we have to be very cautious about all these things. And there is no really any proper litigation in this country which can create a rule book for mitigating water and reducing the water stress. If you see, there is no proper standards at all. That is another big problem. And that is why World Bank has come out with a lot of books individually focusing on what type of water stress are there, what type of issues can be taken care of, and what type of problems can be sorted out. And if you see, the monitoring agencies have also cropped up. Starting some 2-3 decades ago, it was 18 or 19. Now it has shot up another again 1,000 times. That is 1,700 or 1,800 recently. Even though these monitoring stations are there, many are corrupt, many are not functioning properly, many are not upgrading their technologies, and still it is a big problem. So that is where, as a David, my part was just thus came Watson, where we started only focusing on one area because I sold too many demons. I cannot hit it in one go with one stone. I thought let us work on this, the beginning, what slide I showed, the villages which are suffering from water. This was a technology from CSIR. In fact, as Ganesh said, it is not my technology. But a lot of technologies patents are really filed in and out from IIT, IASC, and CSIR. But seldom nobody scales it up, or no industry goes deep into understanding the technology and scaling it up. 156 licensees took the license from CSIR Bhubaneswar, making a clay candle, which is having nanopores. The nanopores will not allow the heavy metal or the pathogen or the other turbid material to pass through the color, order, or anything. It will just percolate through the candle, and in the bottom vessel, you collect all the 15 liters of water. So we started with the standalone filter 15 liters. There were brickbats, there were problems, there were deceits, there were issues. But slowly I moved on to focusing on NGOs, self-help groups, rural entrepreneurs who will really appreciate that there is somebody coming and giving me a water filter and educating me on the good and bad of the water and ill effects. And after growing to few notches, I always raise my benchmark. Then we came out with arsenic removal because arsenic gives you cancer. Then we came out with fluoride removal system, which is a very prevalent problem in almost 15 states. Arsenic in almost all the Ganges and Brahmaputra belt. You can, if you go to this 21 Paraganas and other thing, you can see skin oozing out with blood. People having itches and skin rashes all over their body. It's a very gory sight to see. And then Brahman Tola in UP, I have seen one full village having lame legs. All the cattle, people, everybody were having lame legs, dragging their feet and walking. The teeth were all gone with just a deep brown scar because of high fluoride. After seeing this type of gory thing, I started developing arsenic removal cartridges. That's why again the technology was from IIT Madras, but they didn't have a clue of making it as a product and propagating in a scaled manner. And being a manufacturing guy, I was able to do it quickly until our relationship goes strong. Wherever there's a government tender, IIT, because of the big name, they will go and bid and they'll get all the orders. I'm just supplying back the material because my intention is not to have big billing, but to have big impact and reach out to the poor. And again, in the fluoride thing also, there are a lot of brickbats and other issues from other agencies who wanted to push us back. But we proved it through the PSI, the Public Science Institute in Dehradun, who are the main body to adjudicate whether the fluoride filter is the best. And the scientists clearly told me, this is the best fluoride removal filter ever I have seen. And this again, I used to read a lot of scientific papers. That is my pastime during my bedtime. And I came across one technology from PSG College of Engineering and Science in Coimbatore. Again, there the scientists were not very sure that their paper could be scaled up. But I promised the institute and the principal, and he gave me a good hug when we are able to prove that this product could be scaled up in an industrial manner. And we had given to almost 20,000 villages in Rajasthan and the fluoride capital of India, Nalgonda. So this is the technology, and you must be asking, after telling all this, Goliath, why are you focusing only on this thing? Because those are all hidden problems, but these are all relevant problems. Because in India, still 163 million people face a daily struggle to have access to clean drinking water. And we are in the top list in the unwanted area. We are in the top 10 where people are living with without access to safe water. And you see down the line, there are so many other countries where our technology has to go. So let us not make this happen. See, these two children, they are having a great dip in the river Ganges. And you see the flower and other the biological waste and plastic bag and whatnot is really submerging this guy out. And the Blue Nile, I told you, this is a photograph from Jaipur, where the child is trying to pull out some plastic bags, dry it and sell it out in the market. but the infection is going to get through the chemical contamination is going to be a big problem, and we don't know what type of issues are there. We are all in a very safe zone. So go down the villages. I think, visited some 16,000 villages so far in my journey in Vatsan. Wherever I have opportunity to go and understand the local problem. Recently, pesticide is a big problem. Vikram, my other colleague, is here, came out with the pesticides removal problem, high residue of phosphate, nitrate, and stuff like that. So we have now come out with the phosphate removal filter and nitrate removal filter, and we have already installed 2-3 in Rajasthan for a big NGO called Habitat. So this is what I have to say. This was just an awareness session, nothing to do what I have read through various things, various systems and various journals, various Google underwear is called Google God. Because all these things have given me a deep knowledge why I should stay back in this industry and what I should do. And we have started doing the industrial thing also, giving for the detergent industry, this laundry, one huge laundry in Bangalore. They have tried our inoculum combination with other adsorbent what we have built up. It was able to recycle the water completely by filtering through our candles. We have a larger size candle for community size thing. Through that, they were able to filter and reuse the water back into the laundry. And one more STP we are trying in a very big capacity in Bangalore, where all are completely generic organic materials with which we are able to bring down the salt content and the turbidity and whatnot. We are able to recycle the water and make the STP water much more greener and recycle without using any energy. So we have also started stepping down and started fighting the other big Goliath. Hopefully, with more players here who are more educated and more enlightened than me, can join hands with me in this war, and hope more Davids will come out to fight the Goliath and make sure that water is surplus in our country and could be reused, recycled, and regenerated. Thanks for your time, and I am open for question and answers.
Thank you so much, sir. I think this was the most enlightening session on water I have ever sat through. And I actually tell something called as Gogga to my son for a monster. I really know today who is that Gogga or who is a monster in our world. I mean, more vividly than ever. Thank you so much. I must also tell all the audience who are listening right now, I am myself using Watson's water purifier at my own home. I used to be using RO water purifier earlier.
In fact, he is my brand ambassador. What happened now? I don't want Akshay Kumar or Hema Malini. He has a very charming face. I put it in LinkedIn also. He had a very rare thing. It's a good, in fact, very positive thing what you did, Ganesh. I loved it because wherever I go, I love to take the photographs of the villages and women. In the recent brochure also, we are, see again, microfinance was a big problem, right? So now we thought if we have some money in our pocket, why we don't take that risk? When one Muhammad Yunus can risk and do it for whole of Bangladesh, so we launched it in January because I have this policy also. Every August 15th, October 2nd, because now the children, this generation, they are also forgetting our own, the struggle for freedom fight, and so I choose those type of days to launch something new. So this January 26th, we launched this EMI. Suppose a poor man cannot afford, every week he can give 200 or 250 rupees. Thereby in 10 or 8 months, he can cover that cost and he can take my water filter. So we ourselves launched with few NGOs, we have already started rolling it. So the question of how we wanted to do, we have to do. That's it. Nothing, no.
I recommend, I just saw Arjun also mentioning that he has also got one. I recommend everybody who's got one, put it in, because you're the true David amongst all of us in killing the Goliath, right? So my request is, that's one request, and I'm using this water. My son is, Ravi also said he got it yesterday. So Ravi Kumar for Mafia. I know, request all of you to do this, because I now actually feel the taste of water. I was missing the taste of water that I used to drink earlier in my childhood. So I never had an RO water purifier in my early childhood. I am so glad that I'm having it. So because of the interest of time, I'll directly get into the questions. I think the first question was asked by Parvati. I think it's a very good question. Parvati, would request you to ask the question yourself. If not,
I think the presentation kind of answered my question. As that, like the ending, actually, Watson is the answer to the question. So I think.
But I do believe that Sir can also tell in a larger case. One is, of course, we have our David in the form of Watson. Would definitely like to ask Chandrasekhar's Ran sir, is it possible to replace RO at all levels?
Yeah, in fact, that's what we did. Recently, we had a good homework from Swiggy, Cloud Kitchen, where they were using 12 tankers, almost like 2 tankers a day. They were buying 12 to 14 tankers. We put one and they just bought 2 tankers, and that was it for the whole week. So this could prove easily because the water there has to be primarily tested. I think my other friend Neil Matthews is here, who is a great water technologist. In fact, we collaborate with other like-minded people immediately because we can't have guys appointed everywhere. We have put an automation plant in a orphanage or a school there. We had some problems with the automation. I told you. We also try to automate and bring it something akin to the RO plant because everybody don't want to put their hands in. But the big difference is water wastage is zero. Electricity only for pumping in your water is there, and few things like the sensors which tells the level of water so that the tanks don't overflow. Those sensors and other things usurp little bit of electronics. That is the energy consumption. And because these are all clay candles with nanopo, you have to only rinse and wash. In the automation, we also put a reverse washing mechanism, which also cleans the candles automatically and throws away the chaff in very few milliliters. So we have already done that, and we have done for big companies like L&T, Ramco, and whatnot. I wish, like, if any builders are listening to this, when they really want to go for a green building solution, instead of the normal syntax tank, they can put a huge one. We have a 2,500 liter one. They can put it on the top, and it can be like Singapore. You can imagine from the tap water, the pipe water, what is coming into your home, whether be your bathroom or your kitchen, you will get potable water in your system without spending much of energy.
Oh, thank you so much, sir, for that answer. We'll go. There's a lot of questions coming in, so we'll be slightly quick so that you can address all these questions. Ashish, would you like to ask your question, or Ashish?
Somebody in the chat box have asked about arsenic filters. Yes. No, actually, the arsenic filter, what we did with IIT Madras, comes for almost 3 to 4 years. Okay, after that, the powder, the adsorbent, what is locked into the cartridge has to be removed. You all are do it yourself. We have all the features in YouTube actually. Silent movies only. Anybody in any language just can open and see. You have to throw away that material again. That will not leach the water because it creates a conglomerate, a composite material which will not get the arsenic leached. Again, you have to fill. The packets are available. We give it to World Vision and other people where they are replenish the filters. Somebody has asked about fluoride. Yes, we have a fluoride removal filter by soaking bed method. We have one extra bucket in which the fluoride adsorbent is there, and it is not alum. Because alum is one easy method where you remove fluoride, but the drinking water is so pungent you cannot drink it. It is not palatable. What we have done is doping adsorbent, nano adsorbent on a calcium stone, because calcium slowly builds up the bone strength which you already depleted by fluoride, and also removes the fluoride at the same time, which we have done to close to 10,000 households in Nalgonda, the capital of fluoride in Andhra, Telangana, and also in Rajasthan. So we have methodologies for all the three: arsenic, fluoride, and the normal filter, which takes care of the other water.
Actually, Jay is the one who asked this question. Jay, if you're there, you can also ask other question on the material of the plastic, and we had a few suggestions as well. Jay? Jay?
Good morning. Thank you, Chandrasekhar sir. It's a pleasure to listen to your thing. I think one thing is, I think collectively, it will be great if we can put the resources that you have put in your presentation from a citations perspective so that we can refer to these things in other places. I think it's a very great, it will be a great resource for us. I'm sure somebody here can help you with that. It's not like you need to do it, but if you can point us to the right places, that would be really great. That's number one. Second, of course, I think someone else is also, this thing is, quite honestly, we are now in the mode of trying to get rid of as much as plastic as possible. Are there alternate materials for those containers that you have?
I'll tell you, again, there is a misconception on the plastics. There are a lot of food grade plastic. If you see your blood bag or your any hospital wares, most of them are plastic. Plastic is not the villain. It is the disposal of plastic which is a big problem. So we are having very selective, disposal or maybe recycling. Again, why it is called thermoplastic? You apply heat is thermo. Plastic is becoming plasticized. So again and again apply heat and you can regenerate and put it for lesser use, like for using mug or buckets or anything like that. And for your information, my water filter carries 5 government logos. That is from the Department of Science and Technology, CSR, because of the TerraFill technology what they are given. And CPET, which is the premier institute, my alumni, where I studied, my alumnus matter, where it is molded with food grade polypropylene, which is certified by them as non-toxic and non-leaching. And second thing, in a village, if you see the women, they are already malnourished and anemic. They cannot carry the heavy vessels or anything. Somebody were talking about pottery. If the bad luck is there, the same day they drop the filter down and the pot breaks, there is no use. We talk green, but it is not really green. But these plastics are really unbreakable with having wide flexural stem. Even if she drops it with the water, it will not crack or break. And it is lightweight, easy to assemble, easy to stack. So that for various reasons, we are continuing to use plastics. Yes, we have a stainless steel filter also because of the market demand. But I'll tell you, to roll and make and smelter this in a furnace, convert into a roller and give the polishing with all the chemicals. This consumes almost 20 tons of carbon, the stainless steel filter, to make one, whereas my plastic thing is a zero carbon emitting molding process. So this type of relevation is not there much told. If you want any documents on that, I can give you tons of literature proving why plastic is a big savior in the world.
Sir, we also have Chandrasekhar Shankar from our dear Leap Earth partners.
Yeah.
Chandrasekhar, Karthik, would you like to ask your question yourself?
So the reason why I asked about that arsenic filter carrying capacity is because there are lots of these Har Ghar Jal kind of schemes that are being going on, and we have discussed it. Sure. And maybe it would be useful to a lot of other participants.
I'll tell you, sir, Chandrasekhar, yes, I wanted to tell you this again. It's a good platform, open platform. What is happening for arsenic and fluoride removal program? The Northeast and the West Bengal governments all put together from the central government has spent across almost 1700 crores so far. And so far, no tangible solution has been given. Even though this is with the IIT's collaboration, we have done and proved beyond merit that this is the best water filter. The local tenders which are coming from the Northeast states are all tweaked by some Chinese merchants who are just dumping some stuff which don't even remove arsenic, but they claim to remove arsenic, and they are still in the market and in the tender. That is the reason I'm writing to GEM and other things that a lot of description needs to be re-looked upon. Why should they mention the type of filter or the type of process by which water should be alleviated? They should simply say, as per IS 10500 standard, your water filter should work, and we can give the longevity, we can tell what type of the changes and other things, the maintenance cost, anything. That's it. Why should they go and write the description of the filter and whatnot? So this is one area where you can really help me out.
Absolutely. Jayaraman sir, I just wanted to, I have talked at length to a lot of government organizations who actually float technology specific tenders. The reason for this is that, see, if you open it out like this, a lot of the government organizations do not seem to have the technical capability to evaluate what is correct and what is not correct. And that becomes a big challenge.
See, if there are more companies, what we can simply do, let them adjudicate, it should meet the standards of IS 10500. Suppose my technology is economically cheaper, I'll go and bid. The guy who is costly, let him come down. No, let him come down on his price.
No, the problem is not that, sir. Sir, the problem has always been, right now, there is not, in India, there is no competent authority that certifies any process.
So one good thing could be, we can talk to this, because you have good access to IIT and other things.
Yes.
We can create a think tank, writing to the government a white paper saying that this way the whole process could be. Maybe for household filters, you can have a different description. For industrial cleaning and remediation, you can have a different description, different alternatives. Like that, you can do it.
So absolutely. So I just wanted to point out, in the US, US EPA actually does, if suppose somebody is making a claim, they are supposed to come and demonstrate that claim in a test facility run by the US EPA. Correct. In India, there is no such organization that does. I mean,
sir, but again, in the US, I would love to say,
we have.
I deny one point. The standards are all put by US guys. But go down the county and other areas, there are all dumping of all this arsenic, and I show that the examples what all I showed are all from US. In fact, I am part of this global water network where Mary Eggert is running. We have this WOW Tech Talk also here in this thing. Daily I post one thing in LinkedIn, what is happening wrong in US and UK and other big areas. because they have standards, but they are also not following strictly down the line. In the rural, for what is rural area for us, the counties there in those places, there really people are suffering because of bad water. Standard has to be standardized throughout the country, right? Which is not happening even in big countries.
So actually, we have.
Anyway, Chandrasekhar, it's very happy that you were able to listen to this nonsense, because you are a very learned person. I wish if you can ring the cat somehow, I'll be one of the squirrel in your Ramayana. I'll come and join hands with you and do what best we could do. Thank you.
Just a second on this. We have Jay, who actually has been involved in some of these things on the air quality monitoring. And Jay, would you like to share how each step can play a role in this part?
Ganesh, we don't have a water, this thing. I think we should definitely connect with ater on that. They are more on the water side, especially CSEI.
Yeah.
So, which is why I connected you with them. Maybe we can talk to them and see some of these aspects.
Yeah, in fact, Jal Shakti Ministry, we keep on writing to them that not everywhere these RO plants are to be installed. In most of the place, they have become white elephant. Because first 3 months, 4 months it will run, then there will be no villager who are educated upon changing the membrane or anything like that. They don't know what to do. Worst part, I went to BSF Vaga, where in 1988 or 90, somebody had delivered one RO filter on all the posts, and water was running out of it. The wires have been already gobbled by rats. That panel board was already rocked, gone, kaput. Just the water was going into that machine and coming out, and they were drinking it. When we checked it, it was having high arsenic. So we had to go and replace our those water filters with the 200-liter filter. After drinking the first sip, the sipai was clearly telling, "Sir, ye pani acha lag raha hai, mera pyaj bujh raha hai." Feeling so sad for the warriors who are saving us from the country day in and day out. We don't have a mechanism to go and give them potable water. That's why we did Kargil, we did Vaga. Now I am writing to Rajasthan border and also the Bangladesh border, the BSF, showing these case studies that we could also check the water there, test the water there, and then come out with the remediation solution.
Can I tell to?
Yeah, Neil.
Neil.
Hi. I have what I observe is we have a lot of youth who are very well educated actually, but not really understanding what is the amount of poison they are drinking, they are expelling and all. So one way to improve that is if the water testing cost somehow comes down, like what Chandra was telling, we should write to government, IITs or somewhere, and water testing has to be brought
to Nirman has announced a competition. 8 people were shortlisted. Unfortunately, those 8 are from the big institutes of IIT, IISc and all. They still are in the lab stage. After getting the award money also, they are not able to come out with the producible, scalable product and they give a solution. It is an app-based thing. There is one kit available here for 3,000 rupees from the Tamil Nadu government. I have already given to 200 villages and training the women there to test the water on the spot. And now that is another plan. We are planning in 22-23, 2,000 women to be trained with my kit, and at least 70 or 80 tests you can do with this handle kit. Just a chemical titration, change of color, compare it with the other color chart you have, and see how much excess material is there beyond the permissible limit. It is a problem. The Jal Shakti Ministry also knows. Again, there are a lot of agents and traders who are just tweaking in and giving some rubbish, but they are not really trying to educate the common man and going down the line to do this actually. There is method. And the PhD labs are very poor. Suppose you take whole of Telangana or Andhra, there may be hardly some 60 or 70 testing centers, but with the scientists will not be available. And he will have some 100 samples collected. When will he complete the whole thing? So these are all the problem bottleneck, and I think mafiosos who are listening here, and even like Chandrasekhar or anybody who have good access to the government, can write a white table on that and speed up the. Suppose you are given award to the 7 or 8 people who are coming with the handle gadgets, you should tell them a deadline. If another 1 year or 2 years you are not going to complete this, there should be a Damocles sword on the scientist's head. Openly, I am saying. Unless that pressure is there, because you see DST, they fund 20 lakh, 30 lakh, 50 lakh by Birak. Lot of projects I know have patented, gone to drains. They spent all the money, nothing has come to the common man's benefit. In fact, it should be put as a mandatory rule to all the IITs, IICs, or the learning institutions that any fund you get, there should be a deadline. The deadline should come from the scientist's mouth itself. Let him say 5 years, let him say 6 years. After 6 years, if the money is not going to come back, he or the institution should give back the money to the government, because this is the taxpayers' money. That type of Damocles sword is there in England. It is there in US. It is there in Turkey. It is there in Greece. I am interacting with many scientists because of my fellowship in Royal Academy for this water issue. Those scientists tell me, Chandra, if I do something within 2 years, if I don't submit the document and come with the proven model, I am dead. And they are monitored every second. If you go to the bathroom for pissing, his time is to be noted. If you are going and delivering a lecture, his time is noted. Whether that type of system is there in the scientists here. See, I'll tell you a very classic example. Two scientists married together, they apply for some paper, they get into PhD, and they are living in IIT for years together. Then they will extend for another PhD, another doctorate, published paper. They marry happily, retire happily, and go back to their native. This is what is bloody happening here in this. I don't blame them. But the problem is there is loophole for everybody to take advantage. Many are not real scientists. Very few are real scientists who work for these type of causes. But those type of scientists should be highlighted, and this type of fraternity should be fine-tuned to make sure that every research and every money goes for good cause.
Thank you so much.
Chandra, is that kit available from Watson?
Yeah, I can give you.
Yes. Okay. One more suggestion I have to all the listeners is, can we form a non-governmental group along with Watson and provide a centralized test facility where people can send their water in a bottle?
Sir, all of you can buy one kit in your home. You can test it to whoever comes to you. You don't charge them at all. It is only 3,000 rupees. And you can do 70 tests. Maybe before test 35, after test 35. 35 tests you can do very happily. Maybe arsenic will not be there, part of that. In Bengal, again, if there is arsenic, fluoride is there. Arsenic is a very costly process. Testing that kit costs around 15,000 rupees. Every test costs you around 2,000 to 3,000 rupees. The detection of arsenic is a big trouble. Otherwise, this kit can, by and large, take care of 90% of the Indian population's problem, water testing. Everybody buy a kit and you can start doing it anywhere.
Yeah, quickly, Chandra, two more opinion. One is, what I see among youngsters, I am seeing a lot of young faces here, is that we are very good in forwarding whatever message coming, but we are very poor in communicating. Because
don't underestimate the youngsters here.
No, sorry.
Just, they will do much better than you and me.
I am just telling because I have been standing near the roadside fruit shops where people will come with a very big mobile and they will pay with the mobile, but every fruit they select, they will ask to put it in separate plastic bag. So that shopkeeper told me, sir, you are the only one person doing this mockery job, but all these people come and they ask for more and more bag, and finally all the fruits together they want in a very large bag, that to 2 bags they want so that it doesn't tear off. So I asked them.
Okay, I'll answer to your question. Awareness should come from within. No preaching will happen.
So that is the next point I am telling, is that the youngsters are the role model for the still small children. So let us all educate the children, and by being a model, because children never learn from talk. They only listen and see, observe what we are practicing. And that alone is the way we can talk. For example, what Chandra told, soap. In my house, where I bath, I need a soap for about once in 5 months. Okay, 4 months, 5 months, I use one soap. So, my children, I am not advising.
We are already running short of time. Really request.
One more question, Sahil has asked.
Thank you.
Berkeley US filters are all this the hollow membrane filters. Again, there I have got complaints of the hollow membrane blowing up as a flowery material because of the abrasion on it or the cleaning process. Again, the hollow membranes open out very quickly. Replacing that becomes a problem. That is what this Lifestar and other people are having that technology. It is good to only remove the turbidity 100%. I would not be very sure on metal removal, or maybe the critical material like fluoride and arsenic. I don't think those filters do remove. See, it's all branding and how well you sell.
So I'll just pause again here because we are completely running out of time. Jay has a great suggestion. I think we have policy team here with us. Would they like to give a thought on writing a white paper on this particular point, which is raised by Chandra sir. Hari, would you like to share your thoughts?
Yeah, Jay has also said.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great idea of Jay. I believe Jay's suggestion, first of all, to have those references and then a policy brief is a great idea. I think I'd be happy to participate in this, and I think it's bringing this message which you've put in your talk today and this very heated interactions which are happening into a policy brief which goes to the right people would be maybe a game changer. So I'd be very happy to work on this with you and with Jay and with others.
Wonderful. I think there's a great outcome. Arjun, you had some suggestions from our private chat. Would you like to share with the group?
Yeah, well, I think just acting on what Jay suggested. So we, with this YouTube talks in the comment section, we would be summarizing the talks, right? Top 5, 10 takeaways. And, this becomes a library that SusMafia uses for various educational purposes. And along with the bullet points, also add the references that have been used in the slides. So Jay, we are going to act on it immediately. Thank you for the suggestion. And this is very good educational material library that SusMafia is building. With great material from people like Chandrasekharan sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Arjun.
We have actually reached 12 o'clock, but we can still take about 2 minutes or 5 minutes more. We have Shalini here unmuted, so I guess you want to speak. Shalini, would you like to share some thoughts?
Absolutely. So this is one of the most illuminating and very interesting discussion on water. Actually, I have worked in most of the states that Sir has been mentioning. And one thing I really do want to bring about is that from the government side, how they look at the perspectives where it is better and easier to form, for them, simplistic solutions with large scale investments rather than looking at solutions that actually work for the poor. Yeah. So I think the idea of a policy brief and educational material would be a fantastic suggestion. I think we need to look at two different angles. One is looking at educational material itself that can be publicized with the rural development departments, etc. And the other would be a policy brief with very actionable items, right from CPHEO to the other governmental bodies where further action can be taken. I think two different courses of action would be perfect for this particular challenge.
Yeah. Thank you, Shalini.
Thank you, Shalini. So we are about to come to the end, and now I request Ashna to share a bit about our outreach for new Mafioso and also about our next carbon date that's happening on 19th February. Ashna, over to you.
Yes, just a very, very quick introduction. So I hope many of your Mafiosos are present here who had attended our previous carbon date event, which was Mafioso and Mafioso. And we are now coming up with another great carbon date event for Mafioso and corporates. That will be a great opportunity for all the Mafiosos to speak with a bunch of amazing corporates who have such requirements. And you all are expert in such solutions. As you can see, Mr. Chandrasekharan has given a great session. It was an eye-opener for so many of us. I would request all of you to show us your enthusiasm and participate in their upcoming event. I will share all the details shortly in our WhatsApp group and with all of you on email. And I hope to see you all in great numbers and super duper enthusiasm.
Yeah, and also request all of you to spread the word of the mission of SusMafia to multiply the impact of sustainability leaders like Chandrasekhar through goal-oriented collaboration like the SusTalk, the carbon dating, the TEDx. I mean, many offerings from SusMafia that can help.
Ganesh, before this thing ends, let's take a photo.
Yeah, absolutely. Please, folks, please come on video if you don't mind. We would like to have a quick photograph so that.
And we would love to see you all smile.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks
a lot all. Looking forward to the next. Please follow all our social media pages, LinkedIn especially, and please like, comment, and share with all of your friends, network, and family. Okay. See you all. Bye. Thanks again, Chandrasekhar.
Thank you,
For
everybody.
the wonderful SusTalk. Definitely a memorable one. You still remain as my favorite.